Hi, it's Todd from FDS here, and today's little mini review is about these, which are the Jase3d printed motor cover. I've got to thank Ryan from MTB for shipping these with my motor order that I made recently. That kept my postage cost down a little bit. I think these are some of the prettiest motor covers on the market, and I thought I'd get a couple for you to look at today. So this is the stripe cover, and this one is in the translucent orange because I just said to him to print whatever off the printer because I was going to paint them. So you can see that this is very different from the original BS UK cover. Now I have to say this is one of their older prints, so their quality has changed a little bit with the new printing process. So if you're ordering a BS UK cover, your newer ones will be slightly better print quality than this. But what I like most about this design is how it follows the shell contours. And if you look, it just sits like that on top of the shell. Now it's designed to take a couple of screws through here to hold it onto the shell, and I'm not going to do that on this one. I'm going to glue this one into place, and you can see then that it covers very neatly the motor aperture. I make my aperture bigger than other people, and this one also interfaces okay with the shark's teeth fillers for the vector kit, as you can see on the old MTB video where they were looking at these a couple of weeks ago. And the print quality on these is pretty good. I mean, obviously there are your usual 3D printed lines on here, which is to be expected, and those are relatively easy to sand off, and I use a very high build filler and paint process, so those don't really bother me because my paint process will fill them all. And they also make a rapid strike version, and you can see this is really pretty. It's, again, nostril vents here with this kind of duckbill shape, which is designed to go into the rail aperture on the rapid strike. It's the only thing I dislike about the otherwise excellent BS UK rapid strike cover is that, and as you can see, this one's a much better design than I think than their stripe one, because it's got these nice rounded edges and it fits really well, and I use that a lot. Is that this one has along here, it has this extension piece which actually goes into the rail slot, which is really good. This one comes with a little bag of separate parts, and what they've got is some additional surface detail. You can see these little orange pieces, and they fit in over here to give the surface a bit more texture. And these are obviously printed using some infill material inside, and you can see that the honeycomb is then cut away afterwards, so I suspect they're being printed this way up. And then this is all hollow honeycomb, and I don't know how the hell he prints these, but I suspect that they are being printed off the flat base, and then the walls are being built up. This area is infill and this area is infill, and then he's cutting all of the infill material out afterwards. So they do take quite a long time to process. That is reflected in the price. If you think that that is $15 Australian, or about £7, £8, and these are much cheaper than that because they're a bit more of a simple print. They just print these face down on the bed and the printer builds it up. The other thing I like about the BS UK one is that I can have my logo etched into that, and all my stuff is set up with them. I do wish that they'd do something with the stripe one, but I'm not here to talk about the BS UK ones. They were the first on the market when nobody else was making them, and they were well in at the beginning. But these, I think, if you're going for a real nice cosmetic look, in this instance I want to follow the lines as closely as possible of the shell, and you want a real slim looking mean front end. And people complain about these looking a little blocky, and they complain that, oh, they make it look so blocky at the front. So if you don't want a blocky front, the actual build height is pretty similar. Those aren't much lower. The overall height between here and here is pretty much the same. But because of the way that this is all curved around to follow the contours of the shell, that actually visually looks lower than the other one. So that's a big point in its favour. I wanted something different for this build, but in this case I have to say the print quality is very good. As you can see, the holes here are nice and sharp, and the cutouts. And again, on the orange here of the rapid strike one, this is the plain orange, and that's quite a light orange compared to the OJ orange of the strife. But again, the details are very sharp, and the overall print quality seems to be very good, and I will tell you how well that goes on when I bond it in. So there you have it. Those are the Jase3d printed motor covers, and if you're in Australia, these represent better value for money in some ways. If you're in the rest of the world, unfortunately the Australian postal system is such that shipping can be expensive depending on where you are. This is not the fault of the excellent community down there who produce some very, very good quality parts. So if you are looking to get a kind of premium motor cover which looks like a real premium motor cover, then by all means go with the Jase3d ones. If you're in the Western Hemisphere, or Northern Hemisphere, and you're looking for a good quality basic one, then I would say that the BS UK ones still represent good value for money, but they're just not as advanced in design terms as the Jase3d.